Operation Status Quo. Operation Status Quo. Prepare to engage. Operation Status Quo. Ready to engage. Operation Status Quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, my friends. Tell me, how do you do? It is so nice to see each and every one of you. Oh, man. How we doing out there, ladies and gentlemen? And welcome, please welcome to Operation Status Quo. Not just please welcome, you are welcome. You are more than welcome. And we're definitely happy. Who's we? I don't know, me and all the crazy personalities inside my head, as well as the rest of the audience. Even though you're there and you can't see the other people are involved, right? And watching, and you are joining spiritually, whether you know it or not. So that's a beautiful, let's give a round of applause for that, because damn, that's beautiful. I didn't realize how important what I'm doing is. Heyo. Okay, so hello and welcome here today to Operation Status Quo. I am Pete Palma. This, of course, is the space where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, of course, we create our own flow of quo. Because that's the only way to go. That's what you got to do sometimes, is create your own flow of quo in life. And today is the 21st of June in the good year 2023. I guess today's like the first day of summer, right? So, hey, congratulations out there. Unless you're in the southern hemisphere, which I guess there really is in the southern hemisphere with the whole flat earth thing, but we can't go down that road right now because this is a whole nother topic. But it's winter in other places and summer here. As a matter of fact, you know, I mentioned, I guess it was yesterday probably when I was talking about the Fall of America thing that I mentioned that I was in Bali. And when I was in Bali, Indonesia, you know, I was there in August and it was wintertime there, which was really ironic, you know, from being here in the northern hemisphere and living in the northeast corridor for so many years. Well, even Florida. Well, Florida's great too because it stays later, even longer. But anyway, at home, you know, it's staying, you know, this time of year, we get a good amount of daylight. But in Bali, during August, you know, it was getting dark like before 6 o'clock. So in the evening on the PM side. So that was pretty crazy. But down here in Florida, it's even better that during the wintertime, actually, we have more sunlight than I used to have back living up in the Jersey area, as it were. So, yeah, down here, the earliest it gets dark in the wintertime is like 6, you know, something like that. It's when it finally gets kind of dark out there. You still have that little twinkle. It's like 6 o'clock. So that's great. You know, I mean, I remember at home, you know, by close to 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, it's cold, it's dark, and that's that. But so come on down to Florida. I'll be happy to help you out. Find your house. Let me know. All right. So today's show is entitled All Masked Up. And who's all masked up? And what do I mean by all masked up? Because I'm not going to go down the road of the COVID mask, because obviously that's pretty much one of the, I'm going to put this out there, ladies and gentlemen, if there's a group of you who wanted to taunt me, you know, and say, invite me over and then have everybody in the house wearing a mask when I get there, you know, and that'll just piss me to fur off, because every time I see one of those things on somebody's face, I just want to rip it off. Heyo. You know what's great about the mask, though? That mask, and I'm not going to talk about that mask. I'm talking about a different mask. But that mask, to me, was a great identifier. It was almost like back in the day, like this Salem, whatever, when they had to wear the scarlet letter if they were like an adulterer or something. The women, you know, back in those days, it's the same type of thing. Like, you know who's who. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, you know what? Let me stop, because I was really ready to bust some chops. And no matter what, we all have different beliefs and views. And I always have to remind myself, we can't, you know, look down on others, because that's just me using my ego mind and making judgments and causing division, when in truth, we are all one and we all have our own path and everyone has their own reasons for what they do. And please, hey, you know what, people, stop it. Stop giving people a hard time to want to wear a mask. Let them wear a mask. That makes them happy and comfortable. Let them do it. Let them do it. Hey-o. Okay. So today, though, we're talking about a different type of mask, and I have a little video I'm going to share with you in just a moment. But, you know, I speak on this all the time. Mostly I say it kind of as a joke, but it's really not a joke. It's really not a joke. I always say Joe the clone Biden because I do not believe for one split split of a second. I mean, I don't know how much you can slice it down, that what we're seeing is the real Joe Biden in any capacity whatsoever. As matter of fact, what's interesting about it is, I always watch when they show older pictures of him, or even from a few years ago, different things. Like, just look at what they show and notice the difference in the structure of the face, just a little bit, the forehead, and I mean, and it just looks like another person, to me. And obviously the way he acts, I know everybody just thinks he's old and has dementia and whatever, and he's being trotted out there, and it's a shame and all this, but it's really not true, because if you realize that this is all part of a show and it's about the awakening of humanity, this is a puppet that was put there, it's part of the plan to wake people up to show. I mean, how can you I mean, what I'm saying is, they purposely put somebody over the top, incompetent, bumbling around, can't speak right, doesn't answer questions, all that type of stuff. And, it's not a discredit. I'm not trying to put him as a person down, because it's not him. He's already, all the stuff that's coming out, they talk about with the dealings with his son and Ukraine and China and and all the stuff, that stuff's all happened years and years ago. And quite honestly, I believe a lot of that has been dealt with already. I speak on this a lot. The general population is not going to be able to handle one day them coming up on TV and saying, just so you know, sorry, we really want to apologize, but everything you kind of thought has gone on, through the years, it's really just been a lie, and we've been working behind the scenes to kind of clean things out. See, that's why I think humanity's changing the way it's changing, the way things are progressing the way they're progressing, because I do believe the powers, there are powers that be on both sides, and I feel we're in a cycle where the powers that be on the good side are a little more, in control than the powers that be on the bad side. It's always an ebb and flow through history, right? There's going to be times where evil, powers are going to be a little more control, and there's going to be times when good powers are a little more in control, because all energy is one anyway, and it's all just about the cycle that goes round and round. We happen to be in a time where humanity's consciousness is rising, and the good's coming out. So I think a lot of what we see on the mainstream, all the political strife, all the chaos in the world is I mean, what do I know exactly, right? But I mean, when you look at it this way, it really makes sense, and it makes it a lot easier to handle. That it's really more orchestrated to push the population in a certain direction, to get us to be more in tune with what we're supposed to be in tune with, and escape some of the slavery. I mean, really, it's slavery, the 3D paradigm in our current socioeconomic system. I mean, even though people don't perceive it that way, but I mean, it is, if you really realize how much we have in our souls and hearts and all that type of thing. So anyway, I'm going on and on like I normally do, but I have this video here because I believe, I always said Joe the clone, right? Joe the clone. So is he a clone? Is he a robot? Is he like, some multi-dimensional being, alien from outer space, or is it something different entirely? And I had found this video some time before. I don't know, I might have found this video like a year or so ago before, honestly, but it gives some pretty good insight of the technology they were using. I mean, they're talking about this stuff, so it just shows some of the technology they were using. So what they were using, if they're telling you about what they were using, that means they got stuff even better today, right? So when you watch this video, it's only 4 minutes. It's really great. So just take a second, watch through this video. If I think of anything to interject while it's playing, I will do that. But anyway, the point is, watch what they can do and think about what you're seeing with Joe the clone and how he always kind of looks different, right? It's always a little kind of different. Sometimes his face, his forehead's this way. Sometimes it's that way. I don't know. It's just, this is how, I look at this kind of stuff. So it's just food for thought, as it were. So let me pull this up over here. And this is the video. And this is a former CIA chief of disguise. This was this woman's job. And her job was to design these masks to make sure the agents would be safe if they had to scramble, as it were, or change their appearance in an immediate moment. So let's get into this and see what she says.
Keep you safe. It could keep you from getting shot. It could keep you alive. A mask could. People are amazed that there was a job title called Chief of Disguise. And most women I know wish they'd had that job. Sounded like fun. Actually, it was fun. I don't think another intelligence agency in the world devoted the time and the budget to disguise like we did. Disguise became a form of body armor. In the Spy Museum, we call the mask a 5-second mask. They proved invaluable. You could change your ethnicity, you could change your gender, you could change your nationality, and if you needed to, you could actually become another person. When I was chief of disguise, we had already begun using Hollywood stunt double masks. That was a technology that came straight out of LA. We worked with a man named John Chambers.
And just to mention here, that's what she says, that's a technology that came straight out of LA. And of course, we realize that Hollywood is a CIA operation. So just something to, put 2 and 2 together there.
Who had done all the makeup for Planet of the Apes.
He has a definite gift for mimicry.
They could spend 5 hours putting on a mask. They could spend an hour taking it off. And they could shoot it again and again and again until they got the lights just right. Our mask had to be perfect in the car. When you got out of the car, you had to know without a mirror that you were good. The point of all of our masks was speed. You had to imagine that you were going to be in situations that you couldn't even anticipate. An officer somewhere picks this thing up, just puts it on in 5 seconds, and knows that it's right, that he's invisible. If you had to sit and tinker with this thing, if you needed a mirror, it wasn't going to be useful to you at all. The masks were full-face latex masks. It allows you to furrow your brow, it allows you to squint your eyes, it allows you to speak.
You talked.
The specific mask we're talking about would fit just one person. The first thing we do is we make a face impression. If you've been to a dentist and never had a dental impression, it's the same thing, it's just your face, not your teeth. So they would have added to his face. They could rearrange his face a bit and give him a new face that would fit perfectly over his real face. We never used human hair. We always used a synthetic. The idea of a man washing the hair on his mask and making it look nice when that was all done was never going to happen. The synthetic hair, you couldn't hurt it, basically. You could wear your mask in a rainstorm and your hair would still be okay.
Very human.
The masks, more than once, were taken off in a moment of terror and crushed down and put under arms in armpits. They would fit in armpits if they needed to. That was part of the design. The mask is the culmination of a lot of work that we did at CIA over a period of, I'd say 10 years, developing that technology. It was a big challenge to come up with something that finally actually animated and worked to really fool a person closer than 3-4 feet from you. But we did.
They learned the art.
We actually brought Hollywood back into our labs at one point to look at what we had done, and they were stunned. They're absolutely stunned.
Congratulations.
The fact that we're allowed to show it tells me the CIA have moved on. I don't know what they're doing. I shouldn't know. I'm dying to know, but I don't know.
Relax. You'll get to see it all later on.
So I'm proud to show people how good we got to that point and let them imagine. So what are they doing now?
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get rid of that over here. What do you think? Hey-o. What do you think out there? What do you think about that? What do you think about Joe the Clone wearing a nice mask, whoever it is that, is pretending to be him? I definitely think it's something like this. I mean, just to say, like, you see the level of what they showed there, it looked pretty good and all, and that's, some time ago. Obviously, the technologies we have today, we don't even know what they're using. I don't want to make this about a different subject, but just the first thing that popped into my head was Project Bluebeam, and you may have seen the video where they show the kids in the school sitting in the auditorium, and it looks like a big whale comes and splashes down through the floor. I mean, it looks like it's really happening, right there in front of you, while the kids were all sitting there. They were all like, oh, and I'm just trying to say they have that level of technology where they can, if you're seeing something that's not real, you're okay with it, right? But if one day you go outside and it looks like there's an alien mothership up there, ready to invade Earth, is it really some alien mothership up there ready to invade Earth, or is it the technologies they have that, because we're not aware? I mean, even think about which one was it? The Spider-Man Homecoming. I know I don't know if I mentioned this part of it, but I mentioned the movie in one of the other shows I did that I had seen it and it was really good. But one of the scenes is, Tony Stark's plane is flying from Stark Tower to wherever he's moving his equipment or whatever the case may be. And, and as the plane flies, it camouflages itself and you can't see the plane, flying. So, I mean, how do you know what's really up there over our heads? How do you know what people you really think you see and who's real and who's not? Look up central casting too. That's a whole nother thing where, there's a whole video with the Tom Cruise. It looks like Tom Cruise. It's not Tom Cruise. I mean, people can go to central casting. They go to them to hire people, lookalikes. And it's so deep. And I don't mean it in a heavy conspiracy way, of trying to say, but, the truth is, there's a lot going on that we're not aware of, that's behind the scenes. It's this whole, covert operation for your mind. Like I said yesterday, where it's a war for, it's for your mind. Did I say that yesterday? I don't know if I said it yesterday but I know I've said it before. What's going on now? It's basically a war for your mind, your heart, your integrity. I mean, it's really your soul. I mean, it's what it is. It's for your soul and your heart, your mind. I mean, the whole thing. It's this fear-based operation, and the fact that they use all these technologies to just trick us all the time. But the main point of this is to really realize that what we're seeing is fantasy. I mean, even on both sides. I mean, everything that's going on, the stuff with Trump as far as trying to put him away in jail. Everything they're charging him for is all the same stuff everybody else has been doing all along. But just people hate Trump. So and it's not about him, but I think he's the catalyst. I probably have said this. I know I've been talking about a lot of some of these. They all just intertwine, I feel he's the reflection that people need to see. They're going to come after him for all this stuff, and it opens the floodgates to show that's what everybody's been doing. So, and I think that's the purpose of, what his position has been through this time anyway, because it's all about waking people up and making them realize that, our government, our the powers that be are lying to us and, really keeping us in a position of weakness and fear. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little video that I shared with you here today, and I hope it shed some insight maybe onto your thought process of what you're seeing on TV and who's who, and actors too. I mean, you never really know what's going on out there. It doesn't mean you have to be afraid of everything or question everything or don't enjoy anything, but just keep that little bit of space to go, I'm going to think about this for a minute, right? All right. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me here today on Operation Status Quo. We observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then we create our own flow of quo, yo, because that's the way to go, yo. So I am Pete Palma. I'm sorry to say that. I shouldn't admit that. Should I admit who the hell I am? I should have a mask on, right? Maybe this is that's real, it seems. All right. Anyway, so until next time, please, if you enjoy the content of this channel, I have lots of other videos. Maybe you come across this one, you're interested in checking out some other stuff I have. So just scroll through the catalog and enjoy at will, if you would. And please like, subscribe, share, send this out to your family, your friends, those you love, and of course those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you individually as well as a group. God bless you. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, Operation Status Quo disengaged.